See if I can make it through this without my dogs having a loud episode.
Oh, there will be barking. There will be barking today. At least, I mean, from either you, me, or Carmen, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess if there's a show that should allow barking, it should be this one.
So my Cosmic Horror Christmas show, Sugar Plum Gary, that I do every December, the last couple of years, we've been live streaming it, right? But because it's a conversation and people ask questions, it has been a shared Zoom. And one of the things I found out is if you get people to howl, all the dogs will start howling.
Oh.
And, you know, you have a show with people all over the country, and then you have this kind of collective wolf pack. And it's just
that's kind of cool, actually. Huh?
super fun. Yeah, but then, you know, when you get a dog to be vocal, sometimes then just like with hecklers, if you engage a heckler the wrong way, then they're part of the show now, you know. So
canine heckling.
Heavy Petting with Cheri Hardman, where comedians discuss their pets and their love lives. Heavy Petting.
there we go. Shared. Hello.
Right. All right. Well, hello. So welcome to Heavy Petting with Cheri Hardman. This is my esteemed guest, Mr. Emmett Montgomery. Hey, Emmett.
Hello.
I'm excited to have you here. I've followed your pet journey, and I'm excited to talk to you about it.
Well, I'm glad to be here. This seems really wonderful. So there we go.
Okay. So do you want to start? Okay, I just wanted you to tell me. Of course, an alarm goes off right now. How unprofessional. I was hoping that you could just tell me about your pet, how you got it, and just tell me about your pet.
Okay. Well, originally, we've been talking about doing this for a long time, and it has never happened. And originally, we're going to do it with my elderly Chihuahua, Donna, who's 17 years old, and she was a just beautiful potato of a dog. I would take her on stage with me. In fact, the last show I did pre-lockdown was at Jaitai. I did 40 minutes with her and a baby Bjorn. And then at one point she was done. And so Erin Engel, one of her aunties, came and grabbed her and carried her through the audience. And she had a song that I'd have people sing to her because I would sing it to her. When we first got her, she didn't trust me. So I would sing to her to confuse her so I could get her in her thing. I'm going to share a picture of her really quick. And then, so let me get that file. This is what we want. But here she is. This is maybe my favorite picture of her posing with the Three Wolf Moon Wolf show. Yeah, and so I'd sing to her. I'd have this song, "Oh Donna, you're beautiful," and that was just it. And people sang that to her for years. Probably hundreds of people sing it to her because she was definitely a show dog. And then she passed on the last day of Hanukkah last year at 17 years old. But when we got her at 9. And the vet, because she had a heart murmur, said, "You're going to have her for a year and a half, make her comfortable." We adopt. My wife has a tendency to let kind of damaged furry animals to her life, right? You know, she started with me, and then we've gone on with others. And so we knew what we were doing. We knew that we were giving this kind of traveler a place to stay. We make her comfortable for a year and a half. She stuck around for 8 years.
Wow.
So she was a real like Hanukkah dog. You know, she burned longer than she was supposed to, and it was hard. And then we were done. We were like, we want another animal eventually. We were looking into fostering through Old Dog Haven, maybe being a hospice, you know, and something like that, and some other situations. And we wanted an elderly dog, that you know, built-in personality that needed just to finish the chapter of her life. But instead, we found a listing of a dog that last year had been found huddling in a garage during a rainstorm in Tacoma, a Tacoma dog. Tacoma represents. And it looked like she'd been beaten and abandoned, and it took them a few days to get trust and put her in the shelter system. And they were worried that she'd be kind of unadoptable because she was really shy and needed like a quiet space to be herself. And she'd even been returned once because they're like, I need a dog that loves me, right? And so we're going to take this difficult journey, and it would take quite some time to open her up. And so that's how we got Carmen. And let me see. Hey, Carmen. She's like Beetlejuice. Carmen. Carmen. And so she is either 1 or 2 years old. Carmen, come here. Oh, big stretch. Hi. And so then we got this Carmen, who was listed as a Chihuahua. Oh, speaking of heavy petting.
Yeah.
She really likes to get in there. And when we got her, they dropped her off. She howled and whined for about an hour, and then decided she lived here, and she's a total daddy's girl. Oh, hi. Yeah, I know. And I'll tell you this, they were like, oh, she's so tiny. She is 12 and a half pounds, which is over twice as much as Donna is. Right. And she's not a Chihuahua. She is all muscle. We think there's some whippet in her. Look at this. Beautiful. We take her down to the courtyard of her apartment. The first time I put her off leash, she just ran around, just leaps and bounds. And we call it the Carmen show over here. And our neighbors will come out on their balconies and watch her run around. And she has a little boyfriend named Leonard who lives across the hall, who's has a similar story, and they wrestle. And then we're in a big dog building, and she really has just been this kind of powerhouse. But we were not, my wife and I are in our 40s, you know, and we have some mobility issues. And my dad had me when he was 40, and then had 3 other sons. Wow. I was like, why doesn't he like play catch with me or do the stuff that other dads do? We did books, right? But he, I understand him a lot now. You know? Right. Yeah. And so finding ways to play with her and keep her engaged, but she's just wonderful. And having like a schedule and a you know, because we keep feeding her and she keeps pooping. And so, you know, having, you know, a lot of times she's the reason why we wake up in the morning. Right. Well, yeah, it's different when you have a young, energetic dog. That's way different than having an old dog, for sure. And it's a commitment. She's a tiny dog. And, you know, she's going to be with us for 12 years. Right. And, you know, people with human children will be, you know, well, what does that mean? But, you know, you're going to be engaged, you know, you're going to have that intense, but it's, you know, it's kind of beautiful. You know, when you adopt an animal, an animal in your heart, you're essentially saying, I'm going to be here for the rest of your story. It's a commitment that, like, you know, best case scenario is you watch them pass away. And I like to think of it as a high interest loan for heartbreak, because you get joy, but then when you have to pay that bill, you get this beautiful unconditional, and it comes back, and the interest is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was like,
Sure. Yeah, I followed Donna a lot because she looked a lot like my Chihuahua that I had at the time, Paris. And so I always felt a kinship with you because we had these almost matching dogs, and they were both elderly. And I was always like, I did always wonder which one was going to go first. And mine went first. And then I was like, oh God, I hate this for you. You know, just knowing what that felt like. It was, I was really sad when Donna went. I just want you to know that I felt that. So,
you know, I think a lot of people did, you know, and I know that a bunch of people who'd taken photos with Donna changed their profile pictures to shared photos. And in fact, at some point in this year, at a arts and crafts store in Ballard, I'm going to have a temporary showing of all of the art I've drawn and made of Donna and the puppets and stuff. Kind of, let's see if we can get some Donna puppets or somewhere hanging out. Oh, I can't. Oh, the Cheddar Goblin. She's hanging out there. You can't quite see it. But, you know, she kind of became an icon. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as like Carmen, I don't think, well, there's no way she would come on stage with me at this point, although she's really good at dancing, so maybe we could become a dancing act. But you know, and who knows, maybe she won't have as much as a public life. But as a comedian, though, we talk about what's in our life, so it's hard not to post about her and talk about
right
and in the journey. But she is this completely different animal, and I find myself falling in love in a different way. She also is more bonded to me, so she's a daddy's girl. She has a really beautiful relationship with Kate, but it's much more like functional, which was kind of the reverse of with Donna. Donna was definitely loved Kate, and I was her favorite employee. Like, that was kind of how it was. And it's kind of sort of the reverse way. But she'll listen to Kate. Carmen will listen to Kate, you know, as we have to train a dog now. Right. All the dogs I've had before have become like, the animals have been fully loaded, right? And I'm like, this is my animal to fuck up, and I'm just a little.
Yeah, there's a lot of responsibility in that, like in socializing them, and you know, all that good, and teaching them all the tricks and stuff. Does she know any tricks? Like, does she do a sit and all that?
We're not quite there yet. We do have a couch where we can get her to come after her walk, or she goes outside. We can tell her to go to the couch, and she'll sit there and let us unharness her and get her treat. Mm-hmm. And then we have a command calm, where just she knows that she has to chill out because something's going to happen. That works about 50% of the way. She gets so excited when, like, the whole idea of going outside, or even I walk in the room sometimes, like, and she is strong. She can jump up. She's touched my shoulder. I'm tall, so her nose can get about 5 feet in the air. It is. She's a little bit of a beautiful hurricane. So when we come home, and she's really smart. She's figured out how to open things and get into places, and you know, she had some time on the streets, so she has some skills.
Right. Does she? Do you have people come over? Like, does she?
So we have a really beautiful, this building is full of dog owners. Mm-hmm. And so we have people who will take care of her and come see her, you know. But she has a little, we live on the 3rd floor overlooking a park. So she has a little perch that she looks out and observes the world. Mm-hmm. and she will let people know if they are violating the rules of her park. She hates umbrellas.
Oh,
So
really?
she's a true snobby Seattleite, right?
Yeah.
So she's really good in that. And yeah, so we're looking into getting a camera, but I don't want to know, but yeah, she has we have kind of neighbors. We have a loose family. Our building has, we call him the mayor of the building. There's this Chihuahua seal pup or sausage roll hybrid named Rocco, who kind of wanders around like the pervy landlord, sticking his tongue in places and saying hello to everybody. And so there's a real open thing. And there was actually, when Carmen came, it was almost like having a baby in the building. Like, people were very excited. There were a few times where I opened my door and there'd be like a harness or some dog treats and stuff that people were just really exciting to like kind of meet. Because I think we all kind of felt the loss of Donna,
Right.
And so it's a unique situation. Above us, oh, there she is. What do you see? Hey, Carmen, be a lady. Come here. Okay, that's good enough. But above us, our new neighbors, when they moved in, I thought that like they were having an illegal daycare because I could hear tiny feet. Like, it felt like toddlers were running around. It turns out that they have a massive Great Dane named Franklin that we see, who, when I met him, he came right between my legs like I was riding him. And that's where he likes to hang out. He doesn't do that to anybody else in the building, but he likes to hang out between my legs. Carmen doesn't know how to process that.
Yes.
So
is she scared of big dogs at all, or no?
She's learning. Something that has been really interesting is she's learned how to kind of play and interact. Franklin kind of blows her mind, but he blows my mind too,
Right.
It's a horse in a dog costume, right? Or I wouldn't be surprised when one day I see Franklin on the elevator and he just stands up and unzips his suit and it's just a guy. And then, they just have an arrangement up there with the dude, right? But there's some bigger dogs that she's teaching herself and other dogs how to play and interact. It's really interesting seeing her communication. And so the various dogs, there's different games and rituals. So there's a corgi named Watson that will chase her, but she's all legs, and that corgi is not. And so it's interesting to see her slow down just so he can get close enough. And then she and Leonard wrestle. She hangs out with this golden retriever. They just sit in the sun. She's really, you don't want to say stuff like my dog's an empath, but she's really kind of intuitive on how she socializes. And she's not the goth princess we were promised. They were like, you're going to have a shy dog that's going to be afraid of animals and you really want to control people is introduced. But she gets excited. I think she thinks she lives in the whole building and everybody is her family. It's
right.
It's created, I think, some community for everybody. It is, we were talking, I was talking before when I was my storytelling class about embracing mistakes or surprise accidents, right? And we just had to go with the flow that the dog we adopted is not the dog we expected. And it's been beautiful.
Right. Yeah. Cool. That's amazing. I'm happy for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, if she was going to write a review of you as a pet owner, what would she say?
Oh my goodness. Hey, Carmen. What do you think? I mean, I think I think I'd get like 4 out of 5 stars. I think her big complaint was that I don't have enough stuff in my beard, which I've never heard. But she kind of made the decision not to feed her human food. So, but we have an agreement that anything in my beard
Fair game.
is fair game. But yeah, I think she wishes the buffet would be open more. But otherwise, big fan of the restaurant. So,
All right. Anything you want to add about her before we move on to heavy petting of the human variety?
I mean, I'm a big adopt, don't shop person, and I also really believe the benefits in adopting quote unquote unadoptable animals. There is something. There's a lot of the cute puppies and such will find homes, but you really get so much unexpected. They're not going to be boring. And even with Donna, she was considered unadoptable. She was just blobby, flea-bitten thing. She turned into this gorgeous animal that I think affected, she was icon, right? And so, yeah, and yeah, go get yourself a tripod or a cyclops or
we used to do this show at a place called Sunny Skies Animal Rescue in Puyallup. They would let us come in and highlight their pets that they had up for adoption. So I watched their site all the time, and I spring pets on my husband a lot. Like, look, we have a new dog. Like, I try not to be that person, but I know eventually he's gonna be on board. It's just that adjustment period. So I'm always looking, but they have a dog that doesn't have a bottom jaw. And so his tongue just kind of hangs there. Yeah. And I've just been watching him, just like I'm rooting for that dog to get adopted. I look at that at least once a week, like, he's still there. And it just, I don't know.
There's someone though that's gonna be just perfect. And honestly, that if you were shallow, that dog could have a real killer Instagram or TikTok. People would be all about that tongue. But if you are in the position to provide that extra care, and if your heart has a odd shaped hole in it, I would say take the plunge, because it is wonderful. Donna was a surprise. We had talked about it after we wanted something. It became pretty obvious that we needed another heartbeat in our home. And I was a security guard in an art museum at the time, so I wasn't on my phone when I was being a hero. And I got off work and noticed there was a series of text messages that I read backwards, and there was just a picture of my wife and this chihuahua on our couch. And then it went back to the next one was like, I'm bringing her home, I'm sorry. And then it was like, hey, I'm at that animal shelter helping so and so pick out a cat, and I met this chihuahua, let's talk about it. And then and I was like, I don't know, I'm not a tiny dog guy. And then oh boy, Cheri, tiny dog guy. In fact, one more picture of Donna before and this is the day we took her to the vet for the first time, the day after there we go. So we didn't have like a harness, and she wasn't really walking, so she needed some work. And so I just put her in, and then that's when she started kind of nestling in my beard.
That is a really sweet picture.
So there we go. So okay, now you're the awkward stuff, huh?
Okay, so now we're going to talk about heavy petting of the human variety, and I always have to clarify here because some young people have never heard that term before. And like back in my day, heavy petting was a term that we used for like making out. But for the purposes of this show, we're just going to talk about anything that has to do with dating, relationships, sex, love, whatever. And so I'd like for you to share just any story that you would like to that has to do with heavy petting of the human variety.
Well, I'm pretty familiar with the term heavy petting. I grew up Mormon in Utah Valley, and we had a very, it was kind of all about that, because there was to stop if you wanted to get in that, to have it. And
Right.
so I would say that Mormon teenagers are good at two things, and that's dry humping.
Yeah.
Right. So the realm of kind of Levi loving, and sort of go that. And I was a bit of a late bloomer myself, so I lost my virginity around 18 or 19, and but before, you figure out all the stuff and what to do, and unfortunately in any conservative scene, that it was all, it felt like you were doing a crime, right? When stuff can be really wonderful, and then of course, because you have no guidance, you have to figure things out, like basic stuff. Wash your hands, people. Before your hands go inside of
right
stuff like that. And so I don't know. But as far as are you looking for a specific story, or do you have questions?
No, just any story that you think would be like a cute little anecdote for the show.
Well, I mean, I think like most of us, I lost my virginity in the back of a Dodge Dart in a church parking lot. In fact, I think my whole hometown, if you look at any of the church parking lots, there's probably a lot of deflowerments happening there. It's a virginity graveyard, the church park, So, it was the first time. Well, this is a weird story. Cheri, are you
okay? I'm ready.
Okay. And it was really the first time I lost my virginity. I heard it was really interesting. It was not what I expected, because it was sold as this kind of cosmic moment, this big connection. You have to hold off until you find the one, when it's really it's like kind of playing in the mud, right? Nobody tells you about the fart noises of the bellies slapping against each other, or just like in general, the kind of beautiful, awkward humaning that happens with somebody. We are taught, especially now, I worry about these kids who just learn about it through the internet, that it's some sort of grand, sexy ballet, when it's not. It's a real goofy, wonderful thing. It's fumbly, and I mean, there can be some hot, saxophone moments, but for the most part, at least for me, it's kind of a fun, awkward time. But it was, it was interesting, and but she said those three words that you're not ready to hear the first time. It was, and those three words, of course, were "pretend I'm dead," and then she just went limp, and I just did not know what to do.
Did she really say that?
Yes, she did. So there we go. Granted, this was a woman that I started dating. We were at a rock festival, and she came up to me, and I was wearing a Pretty Loud shirt, and she asked me if I had any acid. She thought that I was an LSD dealer. So, there we go. Which I guess I maybe kind of give that vibe off.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's one of, Seattle's more sober comedians.
Right, right.
So there we go. Was that a cute story?
That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard, I think. Like, that is bizarre.
And let me tell you, when I found out that ladies moved during sex, it's awesome. It was.
No, I think I'm going to use that line on my husband. Like, just pretend.
Yeah.
Half the time I'm asleep anyway, so I have narcolepsy, I think. I start off good and then but anyway, that's a whole nother show. Oh, that's so funny. I'm gonna be pondering that all day, I swear to God. Does that mean she just didn't want to move?
No, I mean she initiated everything, right? So like she was kind of she really, up until that moment, ushered me into kind of, and we had like a gentle, like slow, beautiful progression of figuring stuff out, and she was much more experienced. That maybe was just what she was up to, it was definitely like, something that happened. And I remember too, like also we listened to we were in the church parking lot, and the punk band, the Cali punk band, the album was Bad Religion, right? She was a big Bad Religion fan, and that album was on like repeat, and so every time I hear Bad Religion, I think about that back seat. I think everybody kind of has. I don't know. Do you have a virginity song with music playing?
No, but I think of the band Nazareth. They're kind of country rock. Anyway, I was down south when it happened, so I associate that with
Well, I mean, most of it happens down south, doesn't it? Carmen, do you want to come say hi before we go?
So what's the best compliment you've ever gotten on your naked body?
I had well, people get really surprised that I don't have any chest hair. That's one of the bigger reactions I had when people saw me, like, oh, I thought you'd be hairier. I don't know if that's a compliment, but from the belly down, I'm like Mr. Tumnus, but there's just this expanse. But there was a moment in my high school where it's with a girlfriend, and we, and we were on top. We used to hang out at parks past curfew, right? And we're on top of this dome. It was full moon. We're running around in my underwear, and she's like, "Oh, you just look like the cutest little space frog," right? Because I was this skinny, kind of had these broad shoulders and dangly legs, and then I was this skinny, but that became a term of affection, and and that was one of the first compliments. And she said it in an endearing way, and that was one of the first positive body compliments I had ever gotten, because and so I just thought, I have this beautiful space frog body. It's kind of more of a space toad at this point, but it's still just leaning into realizing that there's people that are into your shape, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it's not traditionally attractive, right. and I've been fortunate enough to find people who are into me, even though it maybe isn't what's supposed to be traditionally cool, which I guess you could say that about my comedy too. So
you do have a very interesting style. I love it, and I am so excited to have you out at Odd Otter next month.
That is going to be such a fun show.
It really is. Odd comedy at Odd Otter, like just to have you and Levi on the same show, I'm ecstatic. So, and then the beautiful women that we've got on there. Like with everyone's so just interesting, not just odd, but interesting. So,
I'm really excited about Kayla Ruth. She is one of
yeah,
my
I
favorite.
haven't seen her, so I can't wait.
One of my favorite joke writers. She is
Really?
You are gonna love her. And she also she has some really great, like, kind of one-liner short jokes, which I think you'll really gravitate towards.
Right. Cool. I'm excited. What else do you have going on that you want to share?
Well, so I have my buddy Brett Hamill and I have restarted our show Joke Tellers Union. That pre-lockdown happened every Wednesday at the Clock Out Lounge, and it was this kind of really beautiful thing. We're having 100+ people come every week. Wow. And then now we're second and fourth Wednesdays, including coming up this Wednesday, and we have brought it back. We have when you come, you get a membership card, and we stamp you for every show. When you get to 11, we celebrate you on stage. You still have to pay. There's, but Clock Out Lounge is super cool. It has amazing pizza, and it's been a really fun way to kind of do it. We're still finding it back, but we had a theme song made by great musician Julia Massey of the band Warren Dunes, and that we open with, and everybody claps too, and it's just really dumb. It's perfect. But she's our unofficial house band, and she's actually going to be on stage playing the theme song and accompanying the comedians. And we have Kyle Bob, who I love. Have you seen Kyle Bob? He's just this weird, gentle, just he's a real funny, weird guy. Okay. And Shannon Coyano, who is a great Seattle comedian, who took a break for a while and has come back real fun. And then I will actually be doing a kind of slideshow. I will be talking, because people have wanted to know when we're ready to talk about Donna at the Union, because everybody knew her journey. So I'm going to talk about Donna, and then introduce, talk about Carmen. And so I'll be doing something special set to music, and that is the most consistent way. Of course, if you want a weird Zoom moment, and sometimes you do, most Mondays we do the Magic Hat on Zoom. You've joined us a few times. I think it's a fun show.
I love that show. It's so odd and quirky and fun, and I just love it. I can't tell. I try to tell people about it, and I just really can't do it justice. So,
and that I have been struggling with that for years on how to explain. I just, it's if you want to find a place to see people take risks, or maybe take risks yourself, and have a weird community. And that show, eventually, it's going to go back to live. We're just figuring out how to go back to the basement. Fun stuff I have coming up at the North Bend. I have Odd Otter, which I'm very excited about. I'm also doing another show in Tacoma called The Alt of the Earth at Bob's Java Jive. I forget the date. And then I'll be doing a Strange Storytelling, the show I've done in partnership with North Bend Film Fest, the first weekend there of whatever we call it, August. I'll be doing the North Bend Film Fest. North Bend is the town where Twin Peaks was filmed, and so it's this experimental sci-fi horror drama film fest that happens in this quirky town. And there's a guy named Bob who's like a Bigfoot hunter and tour guide that always does the show. That guy's a beautiful maniac, and
I love that kind of
I
stuff.
stay at his house, and he hasn't murdered me yet. But I'm pretty sure, like, I sleep in the room his grandmother died in, and I don't know if she is completely left. and he has a big like midnight spaghetti party for all the filmmakers. It's
Oh,
weird.
it sounds fantastic. Yeah.
But North Bend, the passes are really affordable. It's the North Bend Film Fest, and then I'll be hosting the Moth. I fill in for that. The Moth Story Slam at Fremont Abbey, the first Thursday of August, and then I have some other stuff happening. I'll be in Austin in October for the Altercation Comedy Fest. You got into the Blue Whale Tulsa Fest, which my youngest cousin, my baby cousin, is a soloist for their ballet out there, and I've always meant to go out, and I thought about applying for that festival. It's a shame I didn't.
I'm excited. I'm on the Friday night show with Rory Scovel, and he's hilarious. So I'm excited about that.
Rory Scovel's an old friend, and he actually did a lot of fun stuff here in Seattle when he would.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I think that you and Rory will get along. I think it'll be wonderful. So,
okay. Well, cool.
So there we go. And then my Instagram's Emmett Montgomery. If you want to see the stuff I do.
Yeah, please check Emmett out. If you're not familiar, like I was saying, there's kind of sometimes a divide between Seattle and Tacoma. So all my Tacoma people, check Emmett out because he's awesome. He's amazing. And this is what I was saving for on camera. Like I have this joke that I always say that Emmett thinks he's my mom. Because you give me a lot of advice, like that's kind of motherly. So if that ever comes back to you, I just wanted to say it to you. Like I just say, yeah, Emmett thinks he's my mom, and he said this or that. So it's kind of cute, but yeah.
Well, I when I first saw you and everything, I just saw that it's from your post that you seem really discouraged about some stuff, and I think what you do is so important. And I apologize if I'm overstepping and momming you, but I really want to see you succeed.
No, yeah, I value
and unique and and I don't have kids, so it's Chihuahuas and you, I guess, certainly.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on here. I'm really happy to meet Carmen, and I can't wait for her to become famous in her own right too. So.
Okay. Well, thank you, Cheri.
All right. Well, have a good afternoon. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Heavy petting.